We're gonna do something a little different. We're diving into this really fascinating work, Man the Unknown. And it's not your typical biology lesson. No, no. This is more of a poetic, almost philosophical look at the human body. We're gonna explore its unity, its incredible complexity, and yeah, even its fragility. So let's get right into it. So right off the bat, here's the biggest idea you need to grasp. You are not a static thing. You're a process, kind of like a river, right? This image here, it's showing us as this constant state of flux. We're always taking stuff in, food, energy, processing it, and then pushing waste back out. It's just ceaseless motion. And this quote, this is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. It really makes you rethink things, right? It forces you to see yourself not as some fixed object, but as a dynamic event, like a temporary whirlwind of chemicals that we've just borrowed from the earth and the air. Wild stuff. Okay, so for this nutritive process, where does all the stuff come from? Well, that's what this next part is all about. The short answer? We are literally made of the earth. Check this out. This image shows the ultimate gatekeeper of our body, the intestinal mucosa. I mean, think about what it does. We eat, well, the dust of the earth, right? Plants, animals, all of it. And this amazing membrane acts like the world's strictest bouncer. It decides what gets in and what gets rejected, turning that raw material into the clean stream that builds our tissues. It's literally turning the outside world into you. Okay, so now let's zoom in from that stream of nutrients, and what do we see? This. The source calls it the impossible mosaic. Our body, it's not one thing. It's a society, a bustling city of billions and billions of individual cells. And they all look different, right? But somehow, they all work together in perfect harmony. It's this incredibly complex, fluid society that just acts as a single being. So, who's in charge of this whole society of cells? How is it all managed? That's where we get to the unseen governors. This is the incredible automatic wisdom of the body, the stuff that happens completely without us even thinking about it. And here they are. Meet the body's internal alchemists. These are our glands, things like the thyroid and suprarenals. They're basically master chemical factories. They take simple stuff from our blood and nutrients and poof, like magic, they create these super powerful compounds, things like thyroxine and adrenaline, that control everything from how energetic you feel to your fight or flight response. You know, this massive unconscious world inside us? It's run by a totally separate government from our conscious mind. It's like we have this dual command structure, these two opposing systems. You've got the cerebrospinal system, that's for conscious stuff, like moving your arm. And then you have the sympathetic system, which runs the whole internal show without you even noticing. The next slide really lays out how different they are. And there it is. This visual just lays it out so clearly. On the one side, you see that clear, direct line of command from the brain to your muscles. That's you deciding to do something. But on the other side, that's the sympathetic system. It's this delicate, intricate web that's managing all the deep internal stuff. Two totally different systems working in perfect balance. But get this, the autonomy goes even deeper. The source talks about how our organs have their own regional brains. And it's true. There have been experiments where a heart or a stomach is taken out of the body, and it just keeps on going. It'll keep beating or moving or even digesting, just like it was still inside. It's like each part has its own mind, its own intelligence. So, we've got this amazing automatic inner world, but how does it connect to our conscious mind? Well, let's explore how our body becomes the instrument we use to interact with the world outside. All right, let's break it down to the most basic unit of action, the reflex. It's really just a simple 3-step loop. First, you've got your input. A sensory nerve feels something. Then, the process. That signal zips to the spinal cord to get sorted out. And finally, the output. A motor nerve fires and makes a muscle move. Super simple, super fast, super elegant. And here's what that reflex arc looks like in reality. You can see the whole pathway. But the most important part, the real magic, happens right there in that little magnified circle. That's the synapse. It's this tiny, tiny gap where the message jumps from one nerve to the next. That's the moment thought literally becomes action. Okay, now this next idea is really profound. The source argues that our hand isn't just a tool that the brain uses, it's the other way around. The hand is a creator of intelligence. Think about it. These 5 small levers, our ability to grab things, to make things, to shape the world around us, from a simple stone tool to a paintbrush, that very act is what drove the evolution of our brain. We didn't just think our way into existence, we did our way into it. So, okay. We have this ancient, beautifully designed system. But how's it holding up in the modern world? This is where things take a bit of a turn.
we're going to look at a pretty stark warning about what the source calls the decay of civilization and this new kind of struggle we're all facing. Just look at this chart. It shows a huge shift. Back in 1900, the main thing people died from was infection. Pretty simple. But today, we've pretty much beaten those bugs, but they've been replaced by degenerative diseases. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes. It's like we've just traded one enemy for another, much different one. And this image really drives that point home. On the left, you've got the old enemy, this invisible giant of bacteria, a monster we could see and fight. But on the right, that's the new plague. It's this abstract idea of internal decay, an enemy that comes from within, from our own way of life. You see, our bodies are built for active warfare. We have this standing army of white blood cells, the leukocytes, that evolved to fight off outside invaders. And you know what? We won that war, largely thanks to science. But in building this super comfortable world for ourselves, maybe we've forgotten how to fight the war that's happening inside. So this is the main takeaway. The source argues that true health is a kind of silence, a harmony within the body. And here's the paradox. That harmony doesn't come from comfort. It requires what the source calls the primitive conditions of life, things like struggle, effort, and discipline. Our bodies don't want to be comfortable, they want to be challenged. They thrive on adaptation. That's the real secret of man, the unknown. Which leaves us with one last question to think about. If health is silence and disease is just the noise of our body breaking down, then in this world we've built, a world that's filled with constant noise and endless comfort, how do we find the silence within?